Hi people, this is Yapi. Yes, let's look at the next text in Joel. We're going to look at this prophet. Remember, we are looking at the second Exodus in the prophets, and I'm going through all the prophets. Now we came to the shorter prophets books, just a few chapters, these ones. And still, it seems like they're referring to the second Exodus here and there. And of course, even if it refers to a specific event in the past, Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9 tells us that what was will be again, and there's nothing new under the sun. So with Yahweh's prophecies, sometimes he refers to different time periods with the same prophecy. Certain key words can point to two different events. But what I found so far with these prophecies, that it clearly, for me, points to a future event, like the second Exodus. Sometimes the prophets make it very clear that it only points to the second Exodus. Yes, so let's look at Joel 2 verse 18 to 32. But Yahweh was jealous of his land, and spared his people. And Yahweh answered and said to his people, Behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and you shall be satisfied with them, and I will no longer make you a reproach among the Gentiles. This talks about Yahweh restoring Israel in their land and blessing them there with, as we see, corn and wine and so forth, referring to Yahweh's blessings that is in the promised land. Of course, this will only happen in the future with the second Exodus. That's when Yahweh will regather the whole of Israel. Not all the people, but I'm talking about the different tribes, people from the different tribes, the remnant, to the one place with the second Exodus. And as I've shown in previous videos, this would be in South Africa at first, and then after that they will move up into the promised land, the original areas, which is up to the equator. So as far as I know, South Africa isn't part of the promised land. It's just below the promised land. So if you wonder why my English sounds so weird, because I'm not English, I'm Afrikaans. So I usually don't speak English at all. So bear with me. And let's look the next verse 20. And I will chase away from you the northern adversary, and will drive him away into a dry land. And I will sink his face in the former sea, and his back parts in the latter sea. These ill savour shall come up, the stink come up, because he has wrought great things. Of course, this could probably refer to nations like Ashur and Babylon, but it's interesting, it talks about the northern king, which also will happen again, of course, with Gog of Magog, because Gog is north of Israel, like Babylon was, and Ashur. And of course, when we look at maps, you will see that Ashur and Babylon is not north of Judah and Israel. Ashur, you could argue, is north, but it's right next to it. It's too close to it. The Bible says Ashur is very far from Israel and Judah. And then, of course, Babylon is not north of Israel on today's maps. Iraq is not north of Israel. It is east. So it can't be the correct Israel or the correct Babylon. So it refers here to the king of north. And then it says, be of good courage. What a previous verse I want to say is that we can see here that the king has been conquered, the northern adversary, which will also happen with the Battle of Gog of Magog. The northern king leader and his armies will be destroyed. Be of good courage, O land, rejoice and be glad, for Yahweh has done great things. Be of good courage, you beasts of the plain, for the plains of the wilderness have budded, for the trees have borne their fruit, the fig tree and the vine, and have yielded their strength. Rejoice then and be glad, ye children of Zion, in Yahuwah your Elohim, for he has given you food fully, and he will rain on you the early and the latter rain as before. You see, as before. It's talking about Israel being regathered and receiving blessings as before. And the floors shall be filled with corn, and the presses shall overflow with wine and oil. As I pointed out in the previous video with the other prophets, that there won't be famine in Yahuwah's territory in the promised land, but there will be famine across the world except for the promised land. Yahuwah's blessings will be there, and it will show the people that Yahuwah lives and that he blesses those who obey him. And I will recompense you for the years which the locust and the caterpillar, the palmer worm and the canker worm have eaten, even my great army which I sent against you. And you shall eat abundantly, and be satisfied, and shall praise Yahuwah your Elohim for the things which he has wrought wonderfully with you. And my people shall not be ashamed forever. Forever. So this is not talking about a period between Babylon and Rome occupation. Clearly it says forever, so it is a future event after the destruction of Israel and Judah. And this talks about a future when Yahweh is going to gather them again. And my people shall be not ashamed forever. From that point forward, with the second Exodus, they will not be ashamed again forever. And you shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, and that there is none else beside me, and my people shall no more be ashamed forever. Again he says it, that they won't be ashamed forever. There will be a blessing, they will be blessed and also be a blessing to other nations, as I've shown in my previous videos, like Isaiah, that they will be missionaries to the other nations, that go as a covenant to the nations to bless and help them, and be much like what Yahushua was. He came and revealed the Father's character to the nations, to Israel, and he did miracles in the Father's name. And so also Israel in the future will also be like Messiahs, like Yahushua was. They will reveal Yahweh's will to the nations and do miracles as he did. I will pour out my spirit. Okay, let's see, verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. And on my servants and on my handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. And I will show wonders in heaven, and upon the earth blood, fire, and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, the moon into blood, before the great and glorious day of Yahweh come. Yes, this great day, of course, I believe is right at the end after the second Exodus. I believe this is when Yahuwah returns to destroy the armies of Gog of Magog. I believe that's the great day referred to here. And it's interesting, he says here about, and it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. This all flesh, I don't think this refers to everybody in the world. I think this refers specifically to the remnant of Israel that will be gathered in Yahweh's promised land, all flesh in his territory, all flesh in the promised land. I believe that's what it refers to, because it's in context with previous verses talking specifically about Israel being regathered, Israel being not ashamed forever, and being blessed by Yahuwah in his promised land. So this in context, this all flesh refers to this second Exodus remnant that will receive his spirit, and they will prophesy, dream dreams, and also see visions and do miracles. I believe they'll also be able to do miracles. And as we saw with the new covenant that Yahuwah will make with them, I believe also that probably this anointing of Yahweh's Spirit will come with the covenant Yahuwah makes with them. As we read in Jeremiah 31, that he will write these commands in their heart, but more than that, he will place it in their minds, meaning they will know his law, just because Yahweh placed it in their minds. They don't have to go study it even, they will just know it. And they will also understand, I believe, the deeper applications of Yahweh's commands. Like Yahushua revealed to the people when he taught the law. He didn't just read the law out to the people, he gave the deeper explanations of the laws. And the same, I believe, will be the case with the remnant. They will also receive the deeper meanings of these laws that Yahuwah gave. Because they have a spiritual aspects also. They're not just physical laws, like Paul also understands some of it. For instance, an animal treading out the grain. Paul took that to refer to anyone that teaches you the scriptures. You must be willing to bless them financially. He made that connection. Because the animals that tread out the grain were allowed to eat some of the grain. Yes, so let's see the next verse. And it shall come to pass that whoever shall call on the name of Yahuwah shall be saved, for in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall the saved one be as Yahuwah has said, and they that have glad tidings preached to them, whom Yahuwah has called. See, Yahuwah calls a specific group of people. We saw on previous video, prophets, that it is his sheep, and we know Yahushua said that the sheep listens to his voice, the sheep follows in his footsteps. Yahushua told them to keep the commandments, and the sheep listens to him, so they keep the commandments. And he says in John 15 verse 10 that the commands that they must keep is the Father's commandments. He also says that in other verses like Matthew 19 verse 17, Matthew 7 verse 23, Matthew 13 verse 41 and 42. And we see in John 17 verse 6 that Yahushua revealed the Father's name to his disciples, and that they have kept the Father's laws. He even said that in his prayer to the Father, that they kept your laws. So that was his aim, that they should keep the Father's laws, and he revealed the Father's deeper laws to them too, so that they can again. But they kept the Father's laws, and that was important to him. That's important to him for us also. We must follow in his footsteps. What did he do? His footsteps? He kept the commandments. So you are also supposed to keep the commandments through faith in him. We see in 1 Timothy 3 verse 15. 3 verse 1 to 21. For behold, In those days, at that time, when I shall have turned the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all the Gentiles and bring them down to the valley of Josaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and my heritage Israel, who have been dispersed among the Gentiles, and these Gentiles have divided my land, and cast lots over my people, and have given their boys to harlots, and sold their girls for wine, and have drunk. And what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all Galilee of the Gentiles? Do you render me a recompense, or do you bear malice against me? Quickly and speedily will I return your recompense on your own heads, because you have taken my silver and my gold, and you have brought my choice ornaments into your temples, and you have sold the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem to the children of the Greeks, that you might expel them from their coasts. Therefore, behold, I will raise them up out of the place where you have sold them, and I will return your recompense on your own heads, and I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hands of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them into captivity to a far distant nation, for Yahweh has spoken it. It's just interesting that this is also happening today, that the territories of Israel, they're not occupied by Israel at the moment, but still it is being ransacked, and the precious metals are being stolen by the Western world nations, which are under the control of Lucifer and the Edomites, the seed of Satan. Remember, Esau mixed with the descendants of Lucifer, and also with the Canaanites, who were also descended from Cain, which was the seed of Satan. So yes, they are at the moment, we could say, the bankers. They are at the moment in control of the media and more or less everything, high positions that needs to be controlled. But Yahweh in future will punish them all for what they've done to the remnant, and still trying to do today, by flooding their nations with other peoples and of other beliefs, to try and destroy them and get them to mix with the other nations. That's always been Satan's plan in the past also, that they will mix with other nations, much like what happened before with Noah. And why Noah was saved, because he didn't mix with the fallen beings, and he was pure in his genetics. So Yahweh saved him and his family. Okay, so let's see. Proclaim these things among the Gentiles, declare war, arouse the warriors, draw near and go up, all you men of war. Beat your plowshares into swords and your sickles into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Gather yourselves together and go in, and all you nations round about, and gather yourselves there. Let the timid become a warrior. Let them be aroused. Let all the nations go up to the valley of Josaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the Gentiles round about. Bring forth the sickle, for the vintage is come. Go in, tread the grapes, for the press is full. Cause the vats to overflow, for their wickedness is multiplied. Noises have resounded in the valley of judgment, for the day of Yahuwah is near in the valley of judgment. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their light. Yes, stars will withdraw their light. And Yahweh shall cry out of Zion, and shall utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heaven and the earth shall be shaken. but Yahweh shall spare his people and shall strengthen the children of Israel. This, I believe, and this could be also referring to this future event of Gog of Magog, where Yahweh judges these Gentile nations that mistreated Israel all these years, and made them slaves of the system, basically. Governments are there to control these people, the remnant, everybody, but also the Israel remnant worldwide, make life difficult for them, tax them left, right and center, double tax them, triple tax them, and yes, it's basically them just oppressing Yahweh's people and making a life horrible for them. And Yahweh will judge these peoples and nations who did this. And this is Yahweh's crying out from Zion and Jerusalem, which at the moment, of course, is desolate. As we see in all these prophets, they mention the same thing. It is desolate, uninhabited, destroyed. And I'm going to actually in the future make a video just going through all those scriptures, which will take a while to go through because there's so many of them, talking about Jerusalem being desolate, destroyed and uninhabited, and the surrounding towns, cities. So Israel at the moment has no Israelites, and Jerusalem has no Israelites. It's destroyed. So the place they call Israel today and Jerusalem is not the real one. It's fake. According to the Bible, according to the prophets, it's fake. So you can either believe the prophets or you can believe the fake Jews who tells you, oh, this is Jerusalem and Israel, and the governments who tries to convince you that it's the case. Let's have a look here. And you shall know that I am Yahweh your Elohim, who dwells in Zion, my holy mountain, and Jerusalem shall be holy, set apart, and strangers shall not pass through her anymore. Yes, Yahweh is going to remove those that are not Israel from that territory where Jerusalem used to be and the surrounding Israel towns. They won't go through that areas anymore, because at the moment there are strangers in those areas. There are non-Israelites in those areas in the middle of Africa. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the fountains of Judah shall flow with water, and fountains shall go forth of the house of Yahuwah, and water the valley of flags. Now, we'd like to see what that is, flags, in the other translations. Okay, this is 18, verse 18, 3 verse 18. Let's see, Joel 3 verse 18. Acacias, and will water the valley of acacias, which makes more sense, of course, what it says. And where was that verse? Yes, fountains shall go forth of the house of Yahuwah, and water the valley of acacia trees. Amazing. Yes, we see that Yahweh will let the fountains of the deep start to come up again like before in Africa. There were a lot of them. At the moment they are dormant, they're not coming out. Some of them are bubbling up a little bit, like there by Ruwenzori Mountain in the equator. I saw one bubbling up in Port St. John's in Eastern Cape, where the Garden of Eden used to be. You can see that one's bubbling up. People go there for healing. They go use that water to heal all kinds of diseases today. You can go look videos up on that subject on the internet, on YouTube even. there's a few videos on the healing waters of Eastern Cape, there about Port St. John's. That's the original river that came out there, still bubbling up a bit. But yes, these will come out with force again all over where they used to come out, and there will be loads of water again in Africa. At the moment Africa is quite dry, and the areas that used to have lakes and seas at the moment is desert. They dried up because these fountains of the deep stopped coming out. I'll show you a photo. Let's maybe just have a quick look, because since I've already opened it, these are basins in Africa. Now there used to be a huge Lake Chad here up here. On the old maps you can see it, and on old maps along this route there used to be 5 lakes this way. And then you have your Sudan basin there, you have your Congo basin, which was a huge lake, Lake Zaire, and then you have your Kalahari basin down here, which used to have a lake. Of course, between these two there used to be a lake called Galilee on old maps of Africa. And here in northern Namibia, in the news, they found a huge lake under the ground, and they can't even figure out how large it is. It is so big. But yes, that will probably also start to come out again, as it probably did before. Yes, these are just some of the lakes, because we know here by this area by Uganda, there's also, you've got your Lake Victoria here, and yes, there were many other lakes not shown on this map. But yeah, you can see where there used to be lakes in Africa, and very green and lush area. Old map shows that the Sahara Desert used to be a fruitful area, towns and big rivers and lakes. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate plain, because of the wrongs of the children of Judah, because they have shed righteous blood in their land. And even today the Edomites are shedding righteous blood. But Judea, but not just the Edomites, Gentiles in general, and especially people of other religions like Islam. But Judea shall be inhabited forever, and Jerusalem to all generations. Amazing, eh? This is talking about the second Exodus, because it talks about all generations being inhabited again. And I will make inquisition for their blood, and will by no means leave it unavenged. And Yahweh shall dwell in Zion. Oh, hallelujah. In a previous video I've shown this, where Yahweh will rule from and where Yahweh will occupy the land. And I've proven that it is in the area of Mount Zion where it is. At the moment, I believe it is by the equator in Africa. And in my video I showed that Yahweh will rule from sea to sea, and from the river to the bottom of Africa, to the end of the land, south. So from east to west sea, and from the Nile River where it stops at the equator to the South Sea. That is according to the prophets, the area Yahweh will rule from. And again here it says it. It says here that Yahweh is going to rule from Zion, a mountain. There is no proper mountains in the fake Israel today. Even go on Google Maps, Google Earth if you want, and look around Jerusalem. You won't see mountains, just a few hills. And David said Jerusalem is surrounded by mountains. And of course Jerusalem itself is supposed to be by Mount Zion. Okay, that's just the end of, as you can see, it's very short and sweet. It's a prophet of Prophet Joel. And I'm going to stop this video here, and I'll do the next one. Enjoy your day. Have a blessing.